Well, I hope you enjoyed the V8. Obviously, the new Milton Grand Prix course isn't man enough for it, because in its day, 1957, do you want to hold it, Bob? In the Belgium Grand Prix, which I happened to be right in, it was timed at 187 miles an hour, and that's, what, 50 odd years ago. The modern bikes like the Ducati are twice the cc and about 20 mile an hour quicker. So where have they gone in 50 years time? We're very fortunate in the museum. This is the icon of classics. 8-cylinder, liquid cooled, 5-speed gearbox, spine frame, the oil's in the top of the frame. During the lunch interval you'll be able to come round and have a look. We have been doing, Bob's and John Ring have done a lot of work on this bike, and one of the main things is we've fitted modern ignition system, electronic ignition system, because if you've got 8 sets of points flying around at 12,000 RPM or up to 15,000 RPM, the old points have a bit of a job keeping up. and of course that, with electronic ignition, it's more precise, doesn't matter what revs you're doing, and again, when you've got a decent spark, the carburation isn't affected so much, because if you've got a weak spark and slightly off carburation, you just flood it up. But if you've got a decent spark, even if the carburation's slightly out, slightly rich, you can still burn the fuel and still run on 8 cylinders. We've run it quite a bit. It's going over to the Manx Grand Prix again in September, and Jose wants it down in Santander, so we'll be running it down there. It's a lovely bike to ride once you get used to it. With a full fairing, I raced up to 57. They used what they call the full fairing, and they were banned in 57 because there was a lot of fatal accidents where people were literally blown off the road with the fairing. I remember the Northwest 200. It used to be frightening riding the NSU in the museum. Along the exposed road from Coleraine to Port Rush, there was a tremendous side wind and no protection. It was along a ridge of the road. Every lap you started off in the right-hand gutter, and there was a break by a house about a quarter of a mile down the road, and each lap you ended up in the left-hand gutter, firing the stones out of the gutter, and lap after lap, and it was like a ship. You were trying to tilt it against the wind all the way. But anyway, luckily the FIM banned them in 57, and we went back to what they call the dolphin fairing, which exposes the front wheel. We like running the full fairing because this is how the bike was used by the great Ken Kavanagh. Fergus Anderson raced it, and Dickie Dale had success in the Alaman. He finished 4th, but he ran a dolphin fairing because he didn't like on the mountain circuit too windy and get blown all over the place. It's quite exciting when you're doing about 180 miles an hour and you start getting blown about with the wind. Luckily, the Guzzi fairings were much better than the rest of the NSU in the museum, the Mondial. They just made them as what they thought looked good. But Moto Guzzi had a wind tunnel, so they could actually find out the aerodynamics, what was good and what was wrong. So Guzzi's had a real advantage on the opposition there. You may notice the frame or the fairing is in a primer color. Well, Moto Guzzis were so keen on saving weight that actually they didn't paint the bikes. They just put a coat of primer on them because they didn't want to give a couple of pounds of paint 6 laps around the TT for free. So they didn't bother with fancy paint, although this one's all painted up for look's sake. But everything, when the factories, Moto Guzzi factories were running, all the bikes were just finishing primer, green primer paint, and that was it. One coat to stop them rusting. And again, I remember that when Colin Chapman went to the 500 Indy race the first time, he sent the Lotuses over, and all the American mechanics built them all up, 2 washers in every bolt and a spring washer. His first job when he arrived was, get all those washers off those cars. We're not giving them 500 miles around Indy for free. So they had to rip all the washers back off them, and a big pile of washers in the middle of the floor. Not giving those a trip round Indy. Anyway, have we any more bikes to run, Gary? We're just coming up to 12 o'clock, so we're going to park up You can do a lap on that wonderful thing of yours, and we'll give you a riffle. Go on.